Lesson number 2. You take your tubing and you just put the red sewing thread on to start with. And then you throw a couple little half hitches. Real simple. Now, let's build the fly. I like to use what's called mylar. I put it on right away. That puts it in there. I don't have to fight with it later, and it works out really well. And all I'm doing is taking the thread and wrapping around it back and forth. But you don't want to get it very heavy. You just want to make sure it's tight. And I like to use half hitches all the time. It's amazing how good that works. So now we have the tube, the mylar. We've also put the first wrap on so nothing will slide. See, that's important. If you don't put that first wrap on there, it'll slide off the tube. So now we're ready to go. We take and figure out our color combination. Let's start out with the yellow and white with a little bit of cinnamon. We call this cinnamon. It's kind of a brown color. And you just snip off a little bit. Now if I want it long, I try to get right down to the meat of where it's actually hooked to the tail section of the skin. There, look at this little piece. Now, you can do it a couple of ways. I like to kind of pat it with my hand this way. I find that kind of helps line up all the pieces. And I lay it down. And now I want to add just a little bit of yellow right here. Now I don't want a lot of yellow. I just want to make a line in the fly itself, like this. You see how that's going to look? Now I might want to make just a little bit of bright yellow up on top, up in here, just to give it a little bit of a flash, as they say. And again, pat it all up, like so. See how I'm pulling it together and I'm patting it? And that's important that you do that. Gets everybody lined up. Now, at this point, I take my scissors and I just trim it so it's all nice and flat here. Here's our thread, mylar, all attached. Everything's ready to go. And this fly material will go right over and around the tube. It's kind of like rolling a cigarette, because you have to kind of work your fingers to put it all together, just like if you were rolling a cigarette with tobacco inside of a paper. And then you just keep wrapping. Now I'll speed up a little bit here so it's not so boring for you. Usually when I'm tying, I can tie a fly, in about 40 seconds. I was taught not to use a vise because when you're on the boat or in a river fishing, that many times you'll lose your best setup and you need another one. Well, you can't find a vise and all that. And so you learn how to do it standing in the river, tying in the fly without a vise. Okay, now I'm going to trim the nose. Make it nice and even. Sometimes you can put an angle to it too. And then you come back here into this section, like so. And I like to trim it off at an angle, all right? Well, come on, pretty stuff. There you go. So, when it's all done and said, look at that. Thanks for watching, everybody, and there's more coming. Stand by.